buzzing. We here on the road, but going to have a conversation tonight, talk about Knicks training camp, talk about the news that just dropped this afternoon tonight. Julius Randle leaving CAA agency, joining William Morris Endeavour. We'll talk about that. What does that mean? What can we take from that? Right? It's fair to speculate, in my opinion, but we obviously don't know the full story. We'll talk about, I'll give you my thoughts. Also, 6 major reasons the Knicks are set up for success this year. I'll go through it, my 6 top reasons why I think the Knicks are going to have a great season this year. We'll talk about the rest of the league, things going on around the league with the trades I feel are going to come soon. And Emmanuel Quickley extension, right? What's that going to look like? When can we expect that to happen as well? As we're less than, a few weeks away, around about a few weeks away from training camp and the first preseason game. Salute Daniel. Big task, a la Wise. What's good, chef? Knicks Nation replay gang. The streets are buzzing. So, first story, man. The biggest news obviously just came today. And it was a surprise, man. A surprise to many of us that know. Julius Randle's long ties and connections with CAA, the agency. Taking good care of him. Aaron Mintz, his agent. And we obviously know, well documented, the Knicks' connections to CAA. Leon Rose, the former head of CAA. Now, somewhere in between big deal or nothing. It's it's fair to speculate, as I said just earlier, man. I think a lot of things go into a player wanting to change agencies, right? We don't just draw a conclusion that it's just one thing, that he's had a falling out with the front office or something like that. By reports, he's joining a former CAA client from head of marketing is with WME now, and Julius Randle, he congratulated Julius, and it looks like he's reuniting with him. That could be a coincidence. I've never really heard of a major player changing agencies just to link up with someone, from the marketing, director of the marketing side of things. That would surprise me a little bit more. What I think it is, truthfully, is I feel like Julius Randle, he's at that stage in his career where he wants to maximize everything. Off-court earnings, on-court. We know, obviously, after this contract, Julius is going to be eligible for that super max, mega max, whatever you want to call it, man. The $50, $60 million deal. He's been a 2-time All-NBA, 2-time All-Star player. And I feel like, he's at the point now where he's looking at all opportunities. He's wanting to maximize that. Obviously, outside of CAA, WME are the other major, if not the number one player in the entertainment industry, entertainment business, is WME, right? So it ain't like he's leaving CAA to kind of downgrade. If anything, it's the same or an upgrade in terms of what he feels in his mind, maximizing opportunities. Now, in terms of other CAA clients, right, Aaron Mintz, the other major client that Aaron Mintz, Julius's agent, represented was Paul George, PG-13. Obviously, CAA represents many other big names. Zion Williamson is rep by Austin Brown, and I'll pull up the CAA client list tonight. We'll look into it. But yeah, salute Quiet, Killer Dogs, salute chat. Talking about the Julius Randle news, first up, top of the news today. What do you guys think? I want to hear your thoughts. But I think it's fair play to speculate. Not saying there's a falling out of the front office or anything like that. That would be extreme. But it's very fair to speculate that Julius is thinking about his future, long-term future. And the Knicks have ambitions, they've got a good relationship in terms of they've always been transparent. I think with him, the relationship with Aaron Mintz, Leon Rose is not going to leave these agents in the dark, right? And, you can connect many dots. Obviously, there's some unrest in Milwaukee with Giannis Antetokounmpo. Joel Embiid's days are honestly could be ticking. Those days could be numbered out in Philly. And yeah, the Knicks are an organization that just constantly looking to improve, constantly looking to, to see what opportunities are out there as well. So that's something that I'm feeling like could be a connection. Could be way off. Again, it's just speculation at this point. But I think it's somewhere between a big deal and nothing. It is something. It's fair play to speculate. But again, he's leaving CAA for another huge agency, which will take care of him in terms of endorsements, outside off-court opportunities, and on-court as well. I don't know if their basketball division is as big as CAA. Obviously, their sports division is still huge. Entertainment division. They are one of the biggest, if not the biggest, agencies in the world. WME. But yeah, after this long, for a player to want to leave and switch up agencies right now while he's in mid-contract on the eve of a season, there's absolutely something to it. But yeah, I feel like it's him wanting to maximize his potential on court and off court in terms of the next contract that he gets. Also, the other thing is Julius Randle's being left off a lot of these lists. He's been, if you care to speculate about them, ranked 59th player in the NBA. A lot of players, a lot of pundits snubbing Julius. This could be an opportunity where he's, not as happy with his, marketing potential. Players leave agencies because they feel like they're not being marketed enough, and it's not necessarily a falling out. It's just a business decision. A lot of fans are fair to say this, but Julius Randle, as a two-time All-Star, two-time All-NBA player, is one of the most disrespected players in the NBA right now. Now, some of that is self-inflicted. You are responsible for your brand image a lot of the time as well. You can't just blame an agency, blame your agent as well. But what does a player do? It's easy. The easiest thing is to fire their agent. Remember, Mitchell Robinson went through like 5 agencies when he first came into the league, till he found, I think, the Wasserman Group, which I think he's still with. But long story short is, he wasn't happy with his original NBA contract. He felt like he was lowballed, underplayed. And I feel like, Julius is in a situation where, he signed the deal, obviously, but yeah, he's looking forward now. He's looking to what's next, man. I want the bag. I want that Supermax. I want to be marketed better. I want to take my persona and my brand image to the next level. And it may not be so much on-court stuff. So it may not be a major deal. It could be more, he's comfortable with the Knicks, but he wants to maximize some more off-court opportunities, and be more marketable, make something like that. Yeah, what are you guys' thoughts on it? I want to hear it. Big Tar says maybe someone got in his ear. It's definitely a calculated decision, as I said. You don't just leave one of the biggest agencies on the eve of a season like this. Dirty saying he followed his old agent over, wouldn't take it that seriously for us. Yeah, in terms of his old agent, I heard it's someone, from the director of the marketing side of CAA. Maybe that was someone who did, closely represent him as well. Yeah, Killer's absolutely on the money. New York's the marketing capital of the world. Yep, we're in an age where every player wants to maximize their earnings. Truth be told, you see your colleagues, you see what they're doing, and you see what they're earning, right? I don't want to count anyone's money, but Jalen Brown, caused a lot of waves, caused a lot of ripples around the league. Jalen Brown, $60 million man. Damian Lillard, $60 million man. Julius Randle's got to be thinking, man, if I'm all NBA again, if I'm all-star for the 3rd time, man, put me in the category of these dudes, man. I'm getting 50 to 60 million, and that's what I want. So we've seen Julius Randle do a few more off-court advertisements, a couple of national spots that I think he did. But realistically, if we're being honest, I feel like his marketing value and his persona around the NBA circles isn't matching his play for a player of his output and the production that Julius is doing. And yeah, if he keeps up the All NBA All Star play, he absolutely deserves that supermax in terms of his play. Now, whether the Knicks feel like they want to give that to him, or whether as a fan you guys feel like he's worth that, that's up to each person. But in terms of what his colleagues are earning, I always say the saying is you're worth what someone's willing to pay you. So people might say Jalen Brown's not worth 60 million, but if there's just one person that's willing to pay you 60 million, then that's what your worth is, whether or not you disagree or agree with it. Yeah. Big Task says if you don't watch it, you might end up like Nerlens Noel. Man, that was a tough situation for Nerlens. Yeah, Dennis Schroeder, another one. Yeah, another situation like that. But the other thing is like Dirty hit on, man. The other major side of this thing, the layer, is that relationships are everything. This is a business first and foremost. Players love the game. They play because they obviously love basketball. They're talented. But at this stage of Julius Randle's career, it's a career, right? He knows he's only going to be able to dunk, lay up, dribble, pass the ball for only so long. And how many more years has he got left? So yeah, this could be nothing in terms of the Knicks' consequences. It could be more him just wanting to maximize his potential. But it is still something. If he feels like CAA isn't that agency for him, there's something to be said for that. So I mentioned the word Giannis. I mentioned the word Embiid. We're not going to dive into it too much on the eve of the season. We'll let the headlines take care of themselves because, there's still some games that need to be played for Giannis to want to come out of Milwaukee, for Embiid to want to leave Philly. But we're getting closer to that being a realistic possibility, guys. But yeah, I really do feel like Julius Randle's marketing value and persona around the league has taken a hit. And a lot of that could be because Knicks fans also are so passionate. I have a lot of guests on, as you guys know. I talk to people like Howard Beck, Coach Nick, B-Ball Breakdown, Bill Daughtry, and many alike. And they hear the noise. Like, they don't exactly watch every Knicks game like we do. But when you mention the word Julius Randle or RJ Barrett, Knicks fans are quite responsible for damaging some players' brand name as well, or not necessarily damaging, but not helping it in terms of that, right? We have a tendency to put down our players more than anyone else, at times. So that, when you see lists like Julius Randle ranked 59th in the league and RJ Barrett disrespected and that's because a lot of these people making the lists, they hear all the chatter and all the disrespect thrown in different directions. Now, in terms of the future moves, right, and what Leon could be doing to set up this team, there was a lot of talk whether Julius Randle would need to be traded in a trade. Let's say if you're bringing in Joel Embiid, Julius Randle has a great relationship with Joel, with Paul George as well. Dirty saying Randle being the key piece in a superstar is ideal. He's the hardest guy to build around. I always still felt like a Julius trade would be difficult from the perspective of the other team needing to take Julius on or wanting to take him on. And if they're trying to build around, rebuild after trading Giannis or Greek Freak, then maybe they might want to go the more younger route. But in terms of Dirty's point about Randle being that key piece, the other team might be in a situation where they've got no choice. If they want all the draft picks that they want and a good or two young player, they might need to take Julius for the salary to work. With that said, we're going to talk about the IQ extension. Grimes is going to be, lining up to get paid as well as Brunson lining up to get paid. So we're not just talking about a Julius trade for the sake of it. it's because of the dollars, like what Dirty's saying, in terms of if you're getting in a star, you need to shed some major salary. But yeah, 100% agree with you, man, on the player list, the player rankings. If I'm a player, like, yeah, you're disappointed a little bit, but you could also use that as motivation to fuel you as a player, and also, you know, but as a major player in the NBA, you can't have thin skin because yeah, people are going to have their opinions. The truth is, Julius Randle earned these accolades. You know, no one can take from him that he's an All NBA player. Nobody could take from him that he's an All-Star player. Right? Those things are set in stone forever. Now that's in the history books. Unlike these silly lists and all of that, RJ Barrett, another one that gets a lot of disrespect around the league. You know, even after Canada's bronze medal, you know, there's been a lot of talk about Dylan Brooks, you know, who had a good performance, but you know, it's a team game, and players like RJ Barrett needs to take attention from the defense for a Dylan Brooks to get open. Man, ain't nobody focusing on Dylan Brooks or doubling Dylan Brooks. There's a reason Dylan Brooks was wide open shooting jumpers. It's because RJ Barrett pulls gravity as well. So RJ Barrett was still, you know, on paper, the number two go-to scorer for Canada. But I don't think RJ Barrett was getting much kudos for the Canada achievement. But yeah, that's another story for another day. Now, I was going to drop this in a separate video, but after today's news with Julius, I've come on and I'm going to talk about this topic right now, which is the 6 major reasons why the Knicks are going to have a great year and they're set up for success. And these aren't in any particular order, but they're the 6 top reasons why I think the Knicks are set up to succeed this year. So without further ado, the number 1, we have perimeter defenders. This is so important to me because we know the season changed, guys. When Evan Fournier was yanked, Deuce McBride came in, and that helped change the season. For the main reason is because the intensity and the perimeter defense went up a notch. Guys taking pride and actually stopping the other guys from scoring. In this league, it's a wing and guards driven league. If you cannot shut down the other team's scorers, you've got no chance in winning, right? They always say, you know, defense wins championships, and you know, you can't have every game like an all-star game, just back and forth. Someone actually has to stop someone from putting the ball in the bucket. Now, why is that a key factor for the New York Knicks? Well, we have plenty of bodies. Now, Emmanuel Quickley, and I would say Josh Hart, and of course Quentin Grimes are plus above average perimeter defenders. And then obviously you could throw Deuce McBride in there as well. And then you add Dante DiVincenzo, who's a very solid wing defender, and RJ Barrett, hopefully, you know, takes his game to that next level this season as well. So that's up to 6 bodies. We've been Knicks fans long enough to know that perimeter defense was one of our weak spots for how long, man. And now I feel so good about our ability to guard the perimeter with that depth. And also, it's conducive to Tibbs' schemes, which is to run the guards and the shooters off the 3-point line and funnel them into the trees where Mitchell Robinson and Isaiah Hartenstein are waiting. There to block shots and intimidate and, to put pressure on that way. And then that's what made the New York Knicks successful. So I'm expecting our defense to be at least top 10, hopefully top 5 defense. And I would not be shocked because of those extra bodies. Now, for a young man, 3 years in the league, Quentin Grimes, in fact, I think Quentin Grimes only had 2 seasons in the league. But yeah, Quentin Grimes, his persona around the league is really strong, because people know he's capable of shooting and scoring, yes, but what does he make his name for as a defender? Quentin Grimes' perimeter D is elite right now for such a young guy. As we saw in the playoffs, He shut down Jimmy Butler on that big play. Emmanuel Quickley's coming in. I expect him to be even more stronger, more mature, and he's getting closer to being that elite perimeter defender as well, size permitting. You know, we know he's got some limitations. He's only 6'3", but in terms of his strength, right, there are times when a big man couldn't even back Quickley down because he's able to hold his own and be a menace as well. So yeah, you guys give me your thoughts on that. You could make this the number one reason, but in no particular order. As I said, the Knicks have a plethora of wing defenders, and I think our defense will be elite. Now on the other side, I wanted to talk about offensively. The Knicks are set up where I feel like we don't have to rely on one or two guys so much. I think we can have a balanced level of scoring, which is going to be also really important for us. Now, we know we have the number one and number two scorers in Brunson and Randle, and that's fine. Every team has that, technically, those players nominated as your go-to guys. But with a third scorer like RJ Barrett's capabilities that could fill it up in the starting unit, Quentin Grimes and Mitchell Robinson, I think there's a nice balance there. Same with the bench unit. So, yeah, hopefully an even distribution of scoring, and then the perimeter defense. Hopefully top 10 offense, top 10 defense this year is the major reason the Knicks are set up to succeed this season. Now, the next reason is, I've talked about it a lot, continuity. Now, I think outside of the Knicks, I could only think of about Milwaukee as the team that's made the same or minimal changes compared to the New York Knicks, basically bringing everybody back. I think every other team in the league has at least made a couple of changes. Philly and Miami, I expect to obviously to look different, make some major changes. We know Boston Celtics, man, lost Marcus Smart, lost Grant Williams, Malcolm Brogdon, look like there's some turmoil there. Kristaps Porzingis, brand new face that they have to integrate. So with that said, the Knicks are coming in. Every player in training camp is going to really know their role. Outside of DiVincenzo, everyone's coming back, and the coaching staff, the teammates, they know what everyone's capable of. There's going to be a level of trust amongst each player. You don't have to come in second guessing what my teammate is going to be able to do. In fact, you could, then expect the chemistry to go to another level. I felt like Brunson and Randle's chemistry in their first year was pretty good for two major pieces that had to play off one another. So I think, the second reason, continuity, is going to help the Knicks through adversity, and it's going to help the Knicks get off to a faster start, especially with some upheaval around the league. The third reason the Knicks are set up for success this season is our depth at the big man spot, the center spot specifically, our tandem of Mitchell Robinson, Isaiah Hartenstein, right? It's an elite tandem, if not the best or one of the best in the league. We saw a situation where Isaiah Hartenstein, struggled a little to start last season. He was dealing with an Achilles injury, and once that was rectified, we saw immediately Isaiah Hartenstein's play go to another level. His bounce, his ability to board, block shots, switch out on the perimeter, also, and play make some as well. So have we not seen the best of Isaiah Hartenstein? I won't be surprised. On the other side, I want to give Mitch some flowers too, because he stayed out of foul trouble last year. He stayed more healthy. The free throws got a little better, but he still can get to another level with Mitchell Robinson's free throws, and I hear he's been working on them a lot. So I'm willing to hear from you or anyone about any other center tandem in the NBA that's better than what the Knicks have, or at least on the same level. So I think that's something that's very strong that we have going for us, is the center rotation. Knock on wood, no one goes down, but we know if someone was to miss time, the other guy can hold us down quite a bit. And I think with that situation, it's going to, help us, especially off the bench, and all that like. Now, the other reason is, I think this is the fourth reason, is a healthy competition for spots. Now, with that said, there's a lot of teams out in the NBA that are top heavy, right? Maybe 8, 9 man, and then the rest are younger developmental players. They don't care if they're not going to play as much. They're ready to sit out a little bit. Well, with this Knicks situation, it's different. We've got guys like Deuce McBride, Jericho Sims, who were the key factors last season. Right now, they factor to look to be situational for us. And I think with that said, guys know that if they're not going to produce, then someone might take my minutes. There's going to be a lot of different looks Tom Thibodeau can go with closing games out, right? And I think that's going to be some healthy competition for spot and minutes. Because in training camp, a good organization and a good team generally has backups, good backups to push the other guy to perform, and not take a night off, not take it easy, right? Let's say Emmanuel Quickley's having a stinker. DiVincenzo is probably going to close or take some more minutes. Hopefully, if Josh Hart not playing well, someone else takes his minutes, and all of that. You know what I'm getting at, all of those things. So, you could connect it with depth. It's always a good thing to have extra depth, and that's the reason why. Not just because of injury, but because, in practice, in camp, you want the players that aren't playing, aren't getting minutes, pushing the starters, that are getting those minutes, and hopefully, do better with those minutes. What's good, Vaughn? Salute. Hartenstein not being talked about enough. He finished the season strong. Suspect another leak. Hopefully on the offensive side too. I love the ability to pass and to dive to the rim and to cut. Dirty's also adding the roster's built to win all the hustle plays. Tom Thibodeau DNA with this situation. Big Tuss says RJ Barrett will have bragging rights during training camp. Absolutely. So we're up to 4 reasons. Hopefully you guys are liking it. Smashing that like button. The streets are buzzing. Now we've got two big reasons left why the New York Knicks are set up to succeed this year. The 5th reason is bench scoring. Now, when starters go to the bench, right, and the bench comes in, that's a great opportunity to separate yourself, or at least keep level or gain an advantage. With the Knicks bringing in professional scorers like Emmanuel Quickley and DiVincenzo, that's going to put pressure on the other team's bench, right, and take less pressure off the New York Knicks starting unit. So that's key stretches in games, and I think Emmanuel Quickley, we know he's the people's 6th man of the year. He was deserving. Malcolm Brogdon, however he did, won over the awards and the voters, but the people's 6th man was Emmanuel, and he's coming in with another year stronger, wiser, another big off season. Like I said, DiVincenzo is keen to add his skill set to this team, coming over to add to the Villanova gang. And I just think that's another key strength of this team, the ability to come in, fill it up, get the scoreboard ticking up, and take pressure off the other guys. And obviously Isaiah Hartenstein can score a little, chip in with maybe 10 to 12 points. And Josh Hart, he's going to be good for his 11 points, rebounding, pushing the break, hitting the open 3 whenever. So with that said, I think the New York Knicks can easily pencil in and count on, hopefully 40 to 50 points per night from the bench unit. With that said, and I think that's something that's going to be something that other teams don't have in their arsenal. So that's huge. Big Task agrees. Our bench should be the best in the league, 100%. Now, 9-man rotation, 10-man rotation, we're going to see. Ryan Archidiakono was signed, as you see on the screen, added him to the graphic. And Dimitro Skapantsev was signed as a camp invite, but then he was waived. So I suspect that was just to add to the Westchester Knicks. But yeah, Archie Diakono's coming in. I expect the Knicks to start with the 9-man rotation to begin the season. We don't know what's going to happen with Fournier yet, Jeffries and Roby. I won't be surprised if Dylan Windler is healthy, has a great preseason and a great training camp. He might put himself in contention, to steal 8 to 12 minutes at that 3 or 4 spot, similar to Nathan Knight as well. Now, the final reason, last but not least, definitely cannot leave this reason out. The Knicks are set up to succeed this season because of playoff experience. Now, all eyes and all focus will be getting back to the playoffs like they did last season, and they know there's a clear difference between regular season games and the playoff intensity now. They learnt what it took to close a team out in the Cleveland Cavaliers, and at the same time, they learnt what it took to, they learnt some lessons from losing to the Miami Heat against a strong, smart, veteran, savvy team as well. Talking about RJ Barrett, 2 out of his 4 years in the NBA has played in the playoffs. Now, Emmanuel Quickley has had 2 going arounds in the playoffs. Mitchell Robinson had his first taste of the playoffs. Guys like Randle and Brunson obviously having their second and third dip in the playoffs as well. And there's no greater lesson than the playoffs to teach you, what you need to do and the intensity required. So I expect the Knicks to achieve a certain level of intensity in the regular season, and then hopefully when the playoffs reach, they can take it to another level, take it up another notch. And I'm expecting guys to want to rectify some situations, especially Emmanuel Quickley. Julius Randle will be hungry, to make amends for not being able to help the Knicks get past the second round with the ankle injury. Quentin Grimes had an interrupted playoff situation as well. Gave a great account for himself, and of course RJ Barrett, who was one of the most impressive players in the playoffs, really elevating his stock, and showing that we can count on him, when the games are the tightest, coming in. And I think, Deuce McBride, for a young player in the league, I think Tom Thibodeau gave him a lot of trust, trusting him late in Game 6, giving him, major minutes, significant minutes. So, all around, I think the whole roster's going to come in with that chip, knowing that they could have got to the third round and knowing how much they want to get back there again and what is required to get back there again. So the 6th reason is playoff experience. Now you could also add some more. Welcome to hear your thoughts, guys. Vaughn says coaching plays a very important role in our division. Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of spotlight's going to be on Tom Thibodeau's ability to get the most out of this roster once again. With a new face, rotation minutes is going to be a hot topic. Any game the Knicks lose this season, best believe there's going to be a talking point about, should he have played this guy more? Why did he roll with this guy? Why did he roll with Hart when Barrett was on the bench or DiVincenzo was sitting? That's going to be something that's going to creep up. But coaching is all about man management and pushing the right buttons too, making the right plays. And I expect Tom Thibodeau to learn a lot in training camp and preseason. I think that's what we use training camp for. Some people are over the cliches on media day, hearing the same things every year. But what a guy like Tibbs and the coaching staff love about training camp is basically they use that to settle their early rotation. Not saying it can't change later, because we saw Evan Fournier get taken out and Kemba Walker and things change after 30 games or 15 games. But for the most part, with this team with minimal changes and with all eyes on getting to the Eastern Conference Finals, I think after the final preseason game, Tom Thibodeau will know his rotation and to start the season, and he's going to go with that. And it's up to somebody to displace another guy for minutes. What's up, Michael? Salute. We buzzing right now. Knicks preseason training camp, talking points, and October 9 is the first matchup against the Boston Celtics. The team that RJ Barrett gets up for, Evan Fournier as well. The RJ Barrett buzzer beater was a great memory. Had to pull that one up on the screen. Also, former Nick Kristaps Porzingis dealing with plantar, and we wait to see if KP is going to be healthy for the start of the season. He missed the FIBA tournament. And also, hopefully, every Nick comes in to start the year, and we pray for good health. Every year, we pray that everyone just comes in, and we can see the best of them, the best of these New York Knicks. Yeah, chemistry, great point. Chemistry between these guys. Yeah, that's the point I also made about continuity, fam. About guys knowing each other's tendencies. You just kind of know where your teammate where your teammate likes to get the ball, and where they shoot a high percentage, all those kind of things. Hopefully the Knicks synergy account, they're putting full use to that, checking the stats and the facts, which player is efficient in which spot. Get Mitchell Robinson in the dunker spot, get RJ Barrett in the corner shooting the 3 ball. Quentin Grimes cuts baseline. We know Jalen Brunson likes to operate top of the key, high pick and roll, dribble handoff, get to the bucket with his up and under pivot move. We know Josh Hart likes to pull the rebound down and then run the break, head down all the way for a quick 2. I mentioned Isaiah Hartenstein before, guys. I don't think we've seen the best of him. He was interrupted last year, and Isaiah can play make, top of the key, can find some guys cutting backdoor. Maybe we see a few more 3-point attempts. If he's working on that 3-point ball, I think there's something there to work with. Isaiah Hartenstein's usage wasn't very high, shooting the 3 ball, but the shot mechanics and the ability is there. Jerry, salute, what's good? CAA has new ownership, I believe, so no big deal. Yep, that's fair play. We went into it earlier about more so the number one reason I feel for the switch up is taking advantage of opportunities for Randle. In his eyes, we don't know, what's best for him in terms of CAA or WME, but the main thing is that he feels that WME can capitalize on his off and on court potential. And this is a career. These guys can only play basketball for so long. So it's a big deal for him in terms of why he decided to change. Because a veteran of his age on the eve of a season doesn't just leave one of the most major agencies in the world for another major agency. There's something behind it, but it's mostly probably dollars, opportunities, with that said. But it also may not be connected, but I also feel strongly, and I've always felt this, that the New York Knicks will make tough decisions if it means upgrading the roster. They're not married to anybody, I don't feel. I'm not here to run the trade machine or make proposals, but if the opportunity is there to land a generational all-NBA talent, like a Giannis or an Embiid, I think Leon Rose will do it. He has to do it, right? It's a derelict of his job. If you can upgrade a roster majorly and you don't do it because you like a player personally, that's counterproductive to being a president of basketball ops. Michael saying Hartenstein and Randle as well as IQ, Grimes and RJ shooting more threes. Every year we say, how could the league shoot more threes? Well, every year they shoot more threes. So yeah, absolutely. Um, I think Brunson might end up shooting a lot more threes as well. Um, Julius Randle always been practicing those threes too. DeRass in the house, salute. How we feeling? Now I wanted to talk about the other key off-season training camp talking point is Emmanuel Quickley. Emmanuel Quickley's extension. We should be hearing something quite soon. Um, no doubt they're deep in discussions right now, um, most likely, or they've already agreed to put it off. It's one or the other. Um, Obviously, there's that deadline. I expect them to reach that extension by the deadline, which I think is before the opening game of the season, which is October 29, I feel, late October. Um, Now, there's no reason for them to do it right now because there's still training camp, there's still pre-season games. It doesn't help. It doesn't hurt to take a longer look to see what IQ is bringing to training camp. But for the most part, first and foremost, I feel like there's a framework of a deal in place. Um, Maybe some back and forth and some negotiating with that. But yeah, I do expect Emmanuel quickly to get extended, and I feel like for many reasons, I think he's vital to this team's success. You know, um, runner up of the sixth man of the year. It speaks for itself. We don't really need to big up quickly, right? He's one player actually that around the league we don't need to quabble and go back and forth with some pundits about why he was lowballed. Um, I think the league kind of puts a value on Quickley, which is fair. Uh, some people feel like he's a long-term starter, though. Some people feel like he's just a great bench player. Um, but yeah, he's still young. So the truth is, if people feel like they know, they're lying because no one knows. Really, it's just what you think. Um, and he's definitely capable of starting games for major minutes, major opportunities. But is it on a lottery team? Is it on a contending team? Is it on a middling team? It's up to these teams to decide. But you see so much of these crazy deals being signed by average players, and I think Emmanuel Quickley is a two-way player, which is so important. Guys around the league, and he's absolutely vital to the Knicks' success, Michael. You feel like a 4-year 105 for IQ. 100% agree. Yep. I feel like it's going to be around the 20 to 25 range, maybe starting at 22 and then going up to 25 on his final year. Because also, guys, I don't want you to just think Emmanuel Quickley is necessarily worth that right now. A lot of rookie extensions are paid based on what an organization projects them to be by that fourth year, or by that third year as well. So you are taking kind of a little calculated gamble that the player is going to continue to improve. And with Emmanuel Quickley, we haven't seen anything to suggest that he's not going to improve. He's become twice the player every single year in the league. If he continues at that rate, yeah, he'll be an all-star at some point. Now there's some leveling off where he's going to reach ceiling, but that's probably not for a few more years to come. He's still a young kid. Yeah, Jerry, salute. IQ will be extended October 1 to 3. No distraction for camp. 4 years, about 88. Fourth year of the team option, something like that. Yeah, I could see the fourth year being the team option. I like that point you made. And I also like the 88 million. That's cool. That's cool with me. It's not my money either. But yeah, he's a player that's worth that, and some. Yeah. Out of all the kids, he's the most polished. Yeah, I could see that too. Yeah, defensively, like I said before, he adds so much to the game. There's times when a big man, can't necessarily take advantage of the mismatch on the switch with Quickley. And I expect him to actually come into camp even stronger, upper body-wise, especially with his experience. I also mentioned as one of my key 6 reasons for the Knicks' success is the healthy competition for spots. Um, what's most important is that if Grimes or Barrett's struggling, insert Quickley. What's also good is if Quickley struggling one game, in Enzo, insert Hart, insert Barrett running some offense. So that's why this roster is so versatile. And we do rely on Emmanuel Quickley a lot, like we saw that in the playoffs. Um, as much as I said bench scoring is a huge factor, a positive factor for the Knicks, if Emmanuel Quickley's having a bad game, well, that goes out the window because Emmanuel Quickley is a huge part of bench scoring, for this team. Um, yeah, great point too, VA. I appreciate you for that. There was that time when Julius was bugging out, and quickly stepped up, quickly stepped to Julius as well. Remember that situation? Um, and Quickly's a guy who's just going to do what's right for the team. Um, you know, uh, there's a reason why Tom Thibodeau absolutely loves him as well. Just absolutely solid character, solid player in this league. And I've said this point in numerous times, but if Emmanuel Quickley was 6'5" or 6'6", man, it'd be a no-brainer. He'd be an NBA starter at the wing spot. What up, Luke? Appreciate you. How have you been? Getting ready for a big season ahead, and I cannot wait. 48 wins I predicted for us, and I predicted a deep playoff run. Let's get to that top 4 seed, and let's go to the third round minimum. Quiet Money, appreciate you. Salute. Diras, buzzing, stinging our way to a 53+ win season. 53. Why settle 53? Why not go 55, man? Double nickel, man. If you guys want, we will do a show before the season begins, and we'll actually tick off every game. We'll go through each game, loosely. Obviously, I'm not here to pencil in guaranteed wins, but I can kind of go, yeah, that's a win. I could see the Knicks winning, losing, and we'll count, and we'll see how many wins we end up with. Hopefully, I want us to all make some bread as well. If there's a particular parlay that you guys are going to go on this season, you feel good about, let me know. Share it with a Knicks brother. Because we want to take advantage of some of this disrespect. Also, I still see the Knicks are at 44.5 over under in my local betting market, and that's chopped cheese. Duras's IQ will be traded quickly. We'll see what happens with that. Nothing would shock me, man. Like I said, Leon Rose is still, he's built the team up to where it is, but most people feel like, the final layer is yet to be added. And hopefully it's the right move. That's all I can say, man. Because, we are going to have to part with somebody with salary-wise. That's another key reason to extend Emmanuel Quickley too, because it's salary that you can use in a bigger trade. Outside of that, you're going to have to, mostly try to sign Grimes or Barrett and use that salary, or Randle. And the other team on the other side may not want that player. So then you're stuck. But if Emmanuel Quickley is on a good salary number, his play's not going to fall off. You know that the other team is still going to be interested in Emmanuel Quickley. I think at 20 million, 25 million. I feel like Vaughn, if the Knicks can weather a storm early and get out to a 8-2 start, 7-3 start, and just build on that. There are some tough games early. Obviously, Boston opening night, that's going to go down, that one. And a couple of back-to-backs, 8 back-to-backs in the first 2 months. I'm looking at Tom Thibodeau, and utilizing the depth that the New York Knicks have. That's critical, man. Also, I'm happy to go out here and give you guys an X factor, something that no one's really talking about at all. And I think if we can get if we get surprising production this season from a Dylan Windler or Nathan Knight, that's going to be gravy. That's going to be a cherry on top, because I like those two-way signings. Those signings were shrewd. Those guys have NBA experience. That for whatever reason, their success hasn't come yet because of injuries and because of being behind all those big men in Minnesota. But Nathan Knight has that dog in him. He has a skill set. He could steal minutes at the floor, definitely. And I like Windler for the three-point shooting, the rebounding, and the size he brings as well. So that's an X factor. If I'm telling you at the end of the season that those guys played a major role, yeah, it could go both ways. It could be because of an injury, but if we get good play out of them, then that's going to be gravy. Uh, I like Roby too. I like Roby Jerry. I like his ability to run the floor, put the ball on the floor a little bit. 6'8", he's versatile. I don't know if Tibbs is going to fully trust him with big minutes. I think he's going to have to prove his toughness and rebounding. But I could see him definitely getting that spot with the shooting and the offense. David Salute. If Grimes and Quickley prove to be better than DiVincenzo and Hart, he better not play the contracts. Yeah, I like that point too. And outside of any young player, I think Tom Thibodeau loves Grimes and Quickley a lot. He trusted those guys in the playoffs too. But I hear a point too. He does have a tendency to have more faith in Hart as well. My thoughts on DiVincenzo I gave earlier, and that is that I would hope DiVincenzo, as the new face, would have to earn his minutes, and displace someone else first, for him to get bigger minutes. Because a new face, you're coming in, you can't upset the apple cart. I think you got to take care of the guys and give them the first look who are here as well. Yeah, only for 13, 14 minutes backing up Randle, so I think he'll be okay. Yeah, I could see that too with Roby. And I do hope we start with a 10-man rotation. I'm guessing it's a 9-man, just because of our experience with Tom Thibodeau. But I really, as a personal hope, is that we start with a 10-man. I don't want Brunson and Randle and guys gassing out early. It's a long slog, man. It's a marathon this season. And especially if we can get through the first 2 months, if I'm going to say this, if we can be 4 games over 500 after the first 2 months, I'll sign up for that. 4 to 5 games over 500 in the first 2 months, with those 8 back-to-backs out of the way, with one of the West Coast trips out of the way, I would sign up for that right now. That would mean we would be able to push on for the rest of the season and get 12 to 15 games over 500, hopefully. But yeah, absolutely. We need to use that depth. That's what the league gave us these 3 two-ways for as well. They can play like up to 45 games, I think, 45 days with the big club, and then you got 2 of them with NBA experience. One of them was a first-round draft pick in Dylan Windler. That's why I think people are forgetting about him. Injuries is a concern, but if he was never injured, Cleveland wouldn't have dumped him, right? So he fell in our lap for a reason. Hopefully now the gods bless him with good health, and we get a good wing that can shoot the ball and that can defend and rebound, with Dylan Windler on a $1 million salary. And he can also play with Westchester when he's not playing. So it's beautiful. It's great what the league did with these two-way spots. I think the fact that they've added it to 3, I could see in maybe 10 years' time they add more to it, and every team can have 5 two-way spots, basically bridge the gap between the Westchester club and the main club, and it's just all in. guys can come in, play, go back, whatever, depending on their development. I think that's only good for them because, you know, there's nothing worse than a player that's sitting on the bench not playing. Um, you know, like we did with Kevin Knox. You know, one thing I was furious about is with when Kevin Knox wasn't getting played, we were wasting his production by not even playing him in Westchester. For some reason, David Fisdale thought, or whoever it was, thought it was better for him to just sit on the bench and watch. That's never the best way. A player only gets better by playing games. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's Westchester or pickup games or whatever it is. You got to be playing games. That's the most important thing. And that's why the NBA wants every club to have a G League club. You know, if G League was useless, there'd be no G League. You know, there's a reason why teams use it. Yeah, the buzz of the Knicks is that Brunson bring us biggest hope ever in more than 30 years. Man, outside of that, you hit it. I could only say this. I think when the time has come for Jalen Brunson to retire, I think he's going to be in the conversation as one of the greatest Knicks, and his jersey retired. That's right. Jalen Brunson, one of the best Knicks, he'll go down if he's here for the next 10 years. And a multiple-time All-Star, and hopefully he's in the jersey retirement conversation. DeMario, salute. Knox Hive, yeah, stand up. Stand up. A salute to Kevin Knox. He re-signed in Portland, which is a good fit because, they're going to trade Dame and, they're going to be tanking. So hopefully he gets some minutes at that spot. Yeah, we could talk about prospects a lot. And obviously, Knox has shortcomings on defense, and he was in the wrong situation, as was Obi Toppin. Now, it's going to be fascinating with Indiana because not just the Obi situation, but Indiana might be a rising team in the East. So that's something to look out for this year. Miles Turner, Benedict Mathurin, Nemhard, Buddy Hield, of course, Tyrese. How they, value Obi is going to be key. Can he beat out Jarris Walker for minutes? That's going to be a huge topic as well. I want nothing but success for Obi, but yeah, he's going to have to earn minutes again with Rick Carlisle, with the coach. I think Obi has the edge on Walker. I give the 3-point shooting as something that separates Obi. The 3-point ball was a little too much with the Knicks, but his ability to hit it is still very valuable, as a stretch four in the league. And one might have thought that, Kevin Knox might be further in his development if he was playing regularly for 2 more years as well. And not just about the NBA, but it just kills their stock in general. If a player is balling out in the G League, for example, that's enough for an overseas team, a big European club to come swooping and sign the man. So, not just selfishly thinking about Knox in the NBA, but if remember Trey Burke was with Westchester for a long enough stint where he could put up 40 points, 35 points every night for a month, and that got Trey Burke back into the league. And that got him signed by the Dallas Mavericks as well. That got him part of the trade to the Dallas Mavericks because they wanted him. Yeah. Yeah, situation's everything too, with the coach as well. That's why, he copped a lot of heat, but when Cam Reddish was traded to the New York Knicks and Mark Berman went out and said that Cam would prefer a change of scenery. That's what he was talking about. Cam knew his days were doomed when he got to the Knicks and he found out basically straight away that Tom Thibodeau's not the coach for him. You kind of know straight away. I feel a player has that gut. That does the coach like me? Does the coach value my skill set? is this a place where I can develop and grow? You kind of know early on. And I feel like once Cam got traded and he wasn't getting much burn, it was like the first 2 weeks, they kept using the excuse that he had an elbow injury or something like that. And I think he knew. Now, I don't think Cam Reddish is in a great situation with LA either, because they're stacked with veterans too. I think Knox is in a better spot. Now, just to wrap things up about the NBA trades coming up and what we can see. So all the executives are back from their vacation. Summer's over, coming to an end, and training camp hitting. Now's the time when conversations are definitely going to start ramping up, and dudes on the phone a lot more. So we're starting to hear a lot more talk about Damian Lillard now, and also teams like the Charlotte Hornets wanting to get involved as a third team, to take on Tyler Hero. They want Tyler Hero paired up with LaMelo. So with that said, I think Damian Lillard trade will happen. The James Harden one, I think, is less likely. Just because they've got some leverage. Does Philly, according to the CBA, Harden coming into his final year cannot withhold from training camp. Otherwise, he'll forfeit his rights to free agency as part of the CBA. So James Harden has to report to training camp, no choice. Otherwise, he's going to lose. But Damian Lillard, I think there's enough respect with him in Portland that once they find a deal that they like enough, I think, they're going to get it done. And Damian Lillard is going to be on the Miami Heat. You guys play 2K24. The commentary is already talking about Dame on Miami. And in the video game, the trade hasn't even happened yet. It's crazy. Yeah, Cam's agent too was Rich Paul. Yeah, he never wanted Cam on the Knicks either, 100%. Maybe Leon traded for Cam just to clown Rich Paul, because remember, those guys are rivals. Yeah. Michael's asking, should the Knicks offer Brunson the extension of 4 years, 300 mil, with the cap going up? If Leon Rose is here and he's CAA and all of that, and Brunson's play stays the same, 100%, he's worth it. The only thing would make me even pause about signing Brunson long term is if we start to see major injuries right now, and there's doubt that he can stay healthy, which is not true, but that would be the only reason I would not extend Brunson. He's the closest thing to a long-term Knick. Like I said, a player hopefully that retires the Knick, and Jersey gets retired as well. Yeah, Cam's in LA. He likes the company. He likes the LeBron taking care of him, Rich Paul, the weather, all of that. Players think it boosts their stock as well. Just saying you're an LA Laker can boost your stock a little bit. So yeah, I think Quickley is going to get extended. We haven't forgotten about Evan Fournier. I haven't talked about it because Fournier is coming into training camp. I think it's a little too late to facilitate a bigger deal for that one. I think Evan Fournier is just going to be a pro about it, and I think maybe by the trade deadline we might waive him or try to find him a new home. But yeah, it's been a great show. Buzzing with the situation coming into Knicks camp as we get closer to Media Day and the rest of the crew coming through. We'll have EJ on soon and some guests to preview training camp, primer, more conversations about preseason, and any more news about the Julius Randle thing that might come available. But it's fair to speculate it's somewhere between a big deal and nothing. It's for reasons that we don't fully know, but I feel like it's to do more so with opportunities and earning potential opportunities and earning potential. I don't suspect there's a falling out of any kind. Yeah, there's nothing we've seen to suggest that. I think there's nothing but respect between him and Worldwide West. I mean, he's talked about it forever. Worldwide West is like an uncle. And Leon Rose as well, with his relationship with Aaron Mintz. If anything, maybe Julius's relationship with Aaron Mintz isn't as strong as what it used to be, which is the reason why, he wants to explore, more opportunities as well. But yeah, salute to Replay Gang, salute Knicks Nation. We'll see you on the next one in a few days. Peace.